Hey, I know I didn't wait for the music to end. That's okay. I'm so excited about today's show. Aloha and welcome everyone to the Caring Caregiver Show, brought to you by Giver's Guides, an online magazine, which is a guide to caregiving and a resource guide for all of you caregivers out there. Giver's Guides, is written exclusively for caregivers by caregivers, and it's from the caregiver's point of view. So why wouldn't a caregiver have it, right? Go ahead, get your subscription. Go right after the show. Don't go now. Don't leave me. Go right after the show. And let me pull my banners up. There you go. And you can go to giversguides.com right there on the screen. Givers with an S, guides with an S.com, where you can also look at some past issues. So maybe, you might need to see an article about something and that'll help you. And maybe it'll also help you realize how important it is to have your subscription and get that issue every month. Trust me, there's a lot of great information in there. And we are celebrating, and I'll talk more about that later in the show. So it is episode 6. I'm sorry, it is episode 7. We are in season 7. Good Lord, Savvy, wake up. I just got back from vacation, you guys, and I'm still trying to wake up. So we are in season 7. Oh my goodness. This is the first episode of season 7. And hello, everyone. I'm your host. I'm Savvy. And I'm also the founder of Give Me a Break. Give Me a Break is a nonprofit organization that's caring for caregivers. So we're here to care for you. And we're here to bring back the joy of caregiving, as well as each week on this show, helping caregivers to relax, renew, resource, and revive. So jump on our website, gab808.org, for more information and to register. And doggone it, I just updated that website. So there's loads of things. Click on the calendar where I just updated all kinds of activities that are going on just this month alone. So some great information there. Check it out, because we know you're tired. We know you're frustrated, and doggone it, you do need a break. And we give you a break every week on our support sessions. Those are free, and that's totally affordable for you and super convenient, because we not only have online support sessions, but also in person. So online is at 8 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time every Tuesday evening, and in person every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. at our safe space, quotation marks, our safe space at the Windward Mall. So come on by. That's coming up this Saturday, and you can just sit there and join a community of caregivers. We're here to share tips and tricks and just survive and bring some joy into the situation. And, you need that socialization because that's why we call it our safe space, because what happens there stays there. And you need to release some of that anxiety that you have. So get on the sessions. They're life-changing. I promise you, they really are. Okay, let me get back to the October issue. Just went out for the Giver's Guides magazine. And like I said, it is the holidays, let it begin, but it is also our anniversary. We are anniversarying 1 year of Giver's Guides. I'm so honored to have been part of this last year, of all of the wonderful articles and contributions by everyone just throughout the year, and all of the wonderful trusted partners that we have that have put in their heart and soul to everything that went into Giver's Guides. And I can't thank everyone enough, truly, from my heart. Thank you so much for everything you do. Lonnie and Christy and Danette and all of you who have contributed articles, thank you for your time and your sharing for caregivers. So some amazing, I know I don't name everybody, but this isn't the stinking Academy Awards, you guys. Although it feels like it, it's our anniversary. Okay, so anyway, check it out. Great articles. They're there for you. It's really important because it's really about, we focus on your self-care, on your wellness. And the articles are really there to help you to make that part of your everyday activity. Again, consider that 30% of all caregivers in the United States alone pass before their caree. Your wellness matters. So please do something good for yourself. Get the subscription, have that online magazine. You can take it with you everywhere you go. Because if something happens to you, who cares for them? And moms, that means you too, right? You're caregivers, the very first caregivers. And I know you're tired and frustrated. And you've got to recognize those red flags. You've got to recognize when you have burnout. So go and do it. It's something to do. It's our fall special, and it's our anniversary issue. So there's a couple of cool articles there that are coming in from our original first issue that went out. Actually, the Caregiver story is our original first issue story, Caregiver story. So it's really fun. It's really cool. Hey, excuse me, young lady. Somebody else wants to be on the show today. So we're also on the tail end of a 10-part series in our support sessions called PAUSE, which is the acronym to know when to take a pause. And last night we had a great session. We talked about S for sensitive. We're on the positive side of being taking a pause. And it's all about being sensitive and regaining that sensitivity. You know, as caregivers, we get desensitized. And we get desensitized not just toward our caree, but even to ourselves. We stop feeling. We stop emoting. We stop having emotions. And we stop accepting those feelings that we need to have as caregivers. So we talked about last night, and a great way to do that is to just give yourself a hug. That's right. I said to give yourself a hug. Just a simple embrace, a hug can stimulate the brain to release those endorphins that we need, and it can spread feelings of healing and joy all throughout your body. It's a great thing. Hugging's a great thing. It acts at the brain's emotional center, and it helps you to relieve that stress and anxiety because you're not always getting a hug, right? You're alone and isolated, but you can do it yourself. I'll show you how real quick, okay? I want you to do the Mr. Miyagi with me. All right, we're going to take our hands and we're going to rub them together. You're going to rub them together and you're going to feel that warmth in there. Okay, really good. Once you're nice and warm, you're going to take your two hands and you're going to place them right below your neck and on your chest. And I don't want to show skin, but if you can get it to your skin, go skin to skin. And I want you to just hold that warmth there. You can feel your heartbeat. Take a deep breath in and then release. And I want you to do that about 3 times. And that tells your brain that you just got hugged, because your brain doesn't know the difference. And it recognizes that hug, and it will release all those wonderful endorphins and the oxytocin that you need. Gosh, you can be a hug addict. You don't need to be a drug addict. You can be a hug addict and just hug yourself all the time. And so it helps you a lot when you can't get that physical hug. Especially during the pandemic, I know it was really hard. But as a caregiver, because you're so isolated and alone, and then it will make you want to feel like you can give another hug as well. So give yourself a hug and then go and hug your caree, because I guarantee you they need one too. All right. So that was what we talked about. You don't want to miss these sessions. They're amazing. Just go to gab808.org. That's our website for information and for links to just click on to our Zoom sessions, or come down every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock and join us. They're really a great community of caregivers, and we just want to bring back that joy of caregiving. That's really what it's about, right? It's about community and growing that community. And you know, sometimes in being a caregiver, we talk about bringing the joy back all the time, but we don't always talk about some of the harder parts of being a caregiver, right? Like when caregiving might end. And sometimes caregiving is an end to our past or previous life, right? But also the caregiving that we're involved in ends when the one we care for could pass. So what that does is then that brings us something we have to deal with, not just guilt, but we also have to deal with grief. And we could grieve our past life while we're caregiving, but we could also grieve the life we just lost in the caree that we had. And those are hard things to deal with. You know, we're already frustrated. We already have that guilt, right? So we know that we have to deal with all of these things. And, you know, we're trying to find ourselves maybe, right? And all of that happens. And remember who we were. Well, you know, you don't have to go through that all alone. Because today our guest is a coach. You need a coach, a grief coach. And today I want to welcome Melinda Chinen. Hello, Melinda. Aloha, welcome. Who is a grief coach. That's right. And she's somebody who is really deeply committed to to helping all of you to get through of that, helping people, helping caregivers especially find clarity. And I love that she says this. She says, audaciously embrace your authentic self and move forward toward a life that would bring you immeasurable joy. That's an amazing statement. Welcome, Melinda. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Savvy.
I'm so excited that you're on today.
Me too.
And you have a caregiving story because I ask everyone. So you have a caregiving story as well, right?
I do. Your organization hits home for me because I was a caregiver for 7+ years. And my background's also in social work. So I've been committed to helping people for a while. But even the year before I became a coach, the last person I caregave was my best friend who passed away. Which is, again, like, she's a huge reason I became a grief coach.
Right.
But that experience with her was life-changing because I've caregiven like so many people before her, but being that, like, having a front row seat to watching someone you love die,
Yeah.
it's such a different experience. It's so sobering. And they were just 3 days that I was there in that way for her. But it changed how I looked at life and grief. And
Yeah.
after she passed, I was left with so much grief. I didn't know how to process or move forward. And now knowing how to process grief and move forward, like I think I find it interesting that the people that I attract in my work are people who were strong pillars in their families and communities. They're the pillars of life for everyone else, and they know how to hold down the ship. But they don't always remember to take care of themselves. And like you said, like, preserve that sensitivity because that's their life force.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that you have that experience. I talk about this all the time, and I always say that, all of our trusted partners are all caregivers. And I also say that, everyone technically is a caregiver, but when you have such a direct contact to being a caregiver and then feeling that grief and then changing your whole life to make that your mission. I mean, who knew that we needed someone to help us navigate that, or that there was even someone to help us navigate that? I didn't know that. I'm still grieving, right? It's like, because my mother, everyone knows this that watches the show, but for those of you who don't, hello, I'm Savvy. Yes, my mother's dying. And my mother's been dying for about 1.5 years, slowly. And she's dying from the inside out. She has dementia, and she's in stage 7 now. And to watch someone go from you that slowly and to not have that closure, and to think that I just sort of powered through it, like you said, right? I just kind of powered through it. Am I desensitized, or am I being overly sensitive? I never know. How do I know? If I knew I could have a coach, wow, could that have changed so much, right? So when I heard about you and I met you, I was just so excited to find out more, because I need this, right? Not just every caregiver needs this. We all need you now. We need you, Melinda. You're like, we may need more of you. We have to clone you. But I really do. I want to be fearless and I want to embrace my authentic self. But who is that? Did I lose that in caregiving? So I ask myself that all the time.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that. Tell me more about what you do, how that works, and how the whole thing comes about.
Oh, that's such a good question. What I always like to say first is coaching is an art to me. I'm an artist first, above being a coach. And I think grief is a lot like art because it's not linear. And I think we've been taught that there's like a typical 5 stages. The 5 stages are not stages. They're more like a cluster along with like 100 other emotions.
Yeah.
And my job as a coach is to walk alongside someone as they begin their grief journey. Because like you said, like, we don't have a navigation for that. And now learning about this work, I'm like, it's wild to think that each of us will go through loss at some point. That is an inevitable. And yet we do not have adequate support for what happens after loss. Grieving with purpose is part of what it means to take care of ourselves and our health. So now to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is vital.
Yeah.
And what happens typically with grief is, I think depending on the loss, right? Like you will notice you feel differently in your life.
Right.
And when grief is very big, it brings you to its knees because it's designed to. But when you're not used to that, you're just like, why do I want to melt in the grocery store at 3 p.m.? Like, what's happening? No one has time for this. I don't have time for this. You know?
What? I'm crying? Where did that come from? You know, it's like all of a sudden your eyes well up and you feel this like tear and you're going, what the hell was that trigger? You know, how did I start crying? It just, yeah.
And so, like, and that's grief knocking at your door. That's your grief saying, like, we don't care where you are, but like your love.
Hey.
This is inconvenient and we don't care.
I know. Hey, it's me. You know, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a meeting right now. Or, you know, it's like, yeah.
And it's our job to actually honor it instead of stuff it down. Because that's how you integrate loss and grief into your life. Like grief is not a problem to be fixed. It's an extension of your humanity. And if you're committed to a life of love, then you have to be committed to your grief.
Love that.
And I'm not trying to say like some people who do my workshops are like, they come in because they're trying to dress rehearse tragedy. Like they're like, I have kids and I'm scared one day that they're going to die. So maybe if I do your work, then I won't be scared of them dying. And I was like, oh, no. Like, that's not what grieving well is. Like, it's not hardening yourself to anticipate the worst. It's welcoming the fullness of your life and trusting yourself to be able to navigate every high and low.
Which is completely different from what we grew up being told. I mean, we grew up being told, just deal with it, you know, push it down. You know, oh, everyone grieves, you know, it's okay. You're in step 3, you know, I mean, I really understood it more now to just be a part of, like you said, it is part of who we are. And it's okay to allow that process, to embrace it, you know, and it's okay to grieve is I think the first thing that maybe needs to be said. Like, it's okay. You can grieve. It's okay. You don't have to do it this way or that way. You can do it however and I like that you say that it's art. So to me, that translates to how do I paint my picture of grief?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is another thing I love about my work is like, I don't actually have to be the expert of you. Like you're the expert of you. And my job is to stay attuned to what is your unique way of grieving that you're trying to find out. And how can I help support you so that it doesn't feel like this lonely navigation or like, is this normal? Is this how it's supposed to be? You know?
Yeah. So so somebody might be painting grief as a dark picture with no light, whereas if you embrace it, maybe that picture becomes something different and new. You know, like so I do this thing, and I don't know, you can tell me if this is any good, but I do this meditation where I help people to find their happy place. And of course, in order to do that, I had to first find mine. And I realized that my happy place is full of waterfalls. And each waterfall represents somebody I've lost. And so I celebrate them. And so my picture of grief becomes this beautiful place with amazing waterfalls of different heights and strengths. And, you know, some have rainbows and some have, you know, big ponds of water. And so each one is different to represent that person. So is that kind of what you see? Am I doing that right?
Oh my gosh, your pulse with grief is gorgeous. The thing I hear is how much you do welcome fullness. there's this book that I love called The Smell of Rain on Dust. And it is a book all about grief. But the author says, real grieving never remains in sorrow. And grief is the sound of being alive.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is really impactful. And I think that's something people need to hear, especially caregivers, because they always say, I can't let it go. I just can't get past it. But you don't have to get past it.
Yeah,
You just make it part of you
exactly.
and then move forward one step at a time. I
Yep.
love that.
And you said it so well right before you introduced me. It is like finding your identity again. That is a huge part of what it means to welcome grief,
Yeah.
because it changes all your cells. You're like in the same life, but nothing feels the same.
Right.
That's
Well,
because
I think that's the thing with caregivers, right? With a caregiver, you don't realize that them passing is not the initiation of your grief. Your grief started back when you began caregiving and you were
Mhm.
grieving the life you had.
Mhm.
And almost have to go back to that grief and maybe find that starting point to find yourself again before you can even deal with the grief or embrace the grief. Not even deal, I am not even going to use that word anymore, not thanks to you, to embrace the grief that you now have losing your caree.
Yeah.
Does that seem like that's the way I'm sort of seeing it now. It's like, hey, wait a minute, you're trying to deal with losing the loved one, but you haven't dealt with your original grief yet.
Oh, 1,000%. And I think that is the complicated part of loss. Is it's not just a blunt experience. Like there's other things that you're grieving alongside it, right? Like I was talking to someone yesterday who he had lost a childhood friend who was more like an older brother for him. And he was like, Linda, like I've lost grandparents, and that I was able to be with that. But I can't stop thinking about my friend that I lost 30 years ago. Why is that? And I was like, you might be not just grieving that he was like an older brother for you, but you might be grieving the fact that he was someone's son now that you have kids.
Mm.
Be grieving that little boy in you that like his whole world was there and it was beautiful. And then this big experience happened that tarnished that experience.
Wow.
So there's so many things you could be grieving in one
It's like
loss.
layers upon layers upon layers of grief
And we
trauma.
exactly, and like because we don't know how to grieve, we
Right.
don't know how to identify those elements, and because we don't know, we make them wrong.
Oh, I better get a bigger canvas.
You're so funny.
I know. I think I need a bigger canvas, and laughter's a great thing, right? Laughter's a coping thing for me. And so sometimes think, how can you laugh in the face of death? But, that's my embracing, right? I'm
Mhm.
embracing it by not allowing myself to lose my sense of laughter. I don't want to lose my smile. That's the one thing for me that the first thing that went was my mom's smile. And I miss her smile and I miss her laughter. She doesn't do that anymore. And so I don't want to ever lose that. So for
Mhm.
me, the laughter and the smile is not just being, a jokester. It's embracing my grief. It's allowing myself to say it's okay to keep that.
That
Right?
you were such a beautiful embodiment of being able to hold two things in the same hand, like your joy and your grief. And I really admire you for that self-commitment.
Yeah, it's I have no other way to be able to do that. That's out of sheer desperation to cope, right? And so anytime I've had sheer desperation in my life, I just said, okay, well, how can I smile? How can I laugh? Right? How can I find joy? And
Mhm.
so you just reach into your heart, you find joy. And of course, we both were able to find some great missions out of that. And so yours becoming a grief coach as your mission in life and your passion. And I totally get that and love that.
Mhm.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to say as far as your grief coaching? I know I want to talk about your workshop in a little bit, but I feel like I'm cutting you off. Sorry. I'm just so excited. about what you do.
no.
I
I,
love what you do, and I want our caregivers to really see the importance of what you do and how that can help them. And it's such a different way to look at grief, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah,
we just need to share that.
I appreciate that. I think the largest thing my biggest message about what it means to grieve well is grieving well is a self-commitment to not just like your mental health and your well-being, but also just your soul. Because like I said, like if you're committed to still loving people,
Yeah.
you have to take care of the part of you that's also going to know loss, because that's just natural. And I think caregivers, they are pillars of strength for everyone, and can forget to check in with themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't help, like I said, the culture of our Western society is grief is a problem to be fixed. It's a scary monster that comes out when you least expect it.
Right.
But your grief is actually incredibly wise, and it's knocking on your door for a reason. Your only job is to start to be curious and listen to its voice, and ask that it has its way with you. That's the only way to really integrate like that into your self-commitment. And I think that it changes how we look at what life is about. Like I can say, looking back, I used to think that the purpose of life was a perfect life. Like, let me just do all the right things,
Right.
right? And then that will mean that this life was satisfying. No, like your life is about being a full one that welcomes both like
Right.
joy and heartache, a lot of risk taking, a lot of falling on your face. And if you really want to build a life where if you died tomorrow, it was all enough, it's going to require this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think we put enough work into it, right? I talk all the time about turning stumbling stones into stepping stones, and to keep sort of stepping forward and flip it over and see the positive. But it's not easy, and it's precarious, and it gets exhausting. And when you're carrying someone on your back, it's easy to just say, okay, I'm done, and I love that you turn that around, because it's really not just about grief. It's really about finding joy in life and
Mm-hmm.
embracing life. And I just
Mm-hmm.
love your attitude towards that, and your way of looking at it, because it isn't anything wrong. It isn't the big ugly one-eyed monster. It's a beautiful thing, and we embrace the positive of that, and it is about love. So I love that. And I appreciate you, because you came to me saying, I love what Give Me a Break is doing, and I want to do something. I want to do something to help. I just want to do something. And so you offered these amazing workshops free of charge to our caregivers. I mean, you're just the kindest and most giving soul. So talk about these workshops a little bit more. There's 3 workshops. Talk
Yes.
about them a little bit more.
Thank you so much. I truly feel like I met an angel when I met you. So it was.
Don't tell anyone. They'll want me to grant wishes. I'll have to grant wishes.
Yeah, you really do, though. You have that impact where people just want to give. People like remember what this is really about, which is we need to be there for each other. So thank you for igniting that within me. And I'm so excited about these workshops. They're extensions of, I think, my soul and what I really believe it means to grieve well. I always tell people there's 7 fundamentals of grieving well. And these 3 workshops are like a very in-depth, thorough experience of it. So the first workshop is on well-being. And I know it sounds so fluffy, right? Like, what is well-being? Is it bath bombs and making sure you have 10 hours of sleep? Like, no. I think there's the well-being that's like very basic health, right? Like what our doctors tell us: movement, sleep, food. And then there's another layer to well-being that's about boundaries, understanding codependency, and filling your cup from like a soul place. So it's nothing a book can tell you that is good for you, but you know because of your own sensitivity to knowing like, ooh, this actually fills me. This gives me life. So that's what the well-being workshop is. It's super fun. The second workshop is on the power of anger. Anger is more than just an emotion. It's a whole physical experience. And my intention for this workshop is that people, they don't just talk about their anger, they experience it as to free it, as to transcend it. So we need to do a better job of honoring our anger because it's part of grieving well. And when loss happens to us, or we see things that are outside of our control, it's really natural to get agitated from it. So that's anger. And I've had people tell me that, like, it's one of their favorite classes or workshops. So
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's one more, right? I mean, it's a 3-part series here, you guys. So well-being and grieving, by the way, is tonight. And
Yes.
so that's tonight at 5:00. So Hawaii time. So if you're listening to the show, if you're listening right now to this live, or you pick up this live and watch it on our Facebook page, and you pick it up on our Facebook page before 5 today, God, click on the link. Don't want to miss it tonight at 5:00. Stop everything you're doing because it's a free session. About how long is the session?
It's 2 hours.
It's 2 hours, you guys.
Yeah. It's going to be really full. And I'm not a facilitator that will just talk at you. Like I will encourage your participation. That's the only way you're going to get a good experience. So, yep. So well-being's tonight. In 2 weeks on the 19th is the power of anger. And then 2 weeks after that, November, wow, what day is that? November 6th?
That's November the 2nd. It's a
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's they're all on Wednesdays.
Yeah, all
right?
on Wednesdays at 5.
Here, I actually have, sorry, I had a technical issue there for just 1 second, but I fixed it. Okay, here, this will help. I'll share screen. So you should those of you watching should be able to see this. So it's from 5 to 7 live on Zoom for 3 Wednesdays. The first one is tonight, the 5th, starting at 5:00 Hawaii time. And then the next, that's well-being and grieving. And then on the 19th, which is a Wednesday, in a couple of weeks from now, the power of anger. Oh, I can't wait for that one. Also from 5 to 7 Hawaii time. And then the final session is on the 2nd of November, loss and regret. That's a big one there. And again, 5 to 7 Hawaii time. And if you want more information, just go check out our website, gab808.org, or our Facebook page. Really, the best is go to our Facebook page, because our Facebook page, Give Me a Break Facebook page, please follow us. It's all the information is on there. And if you're on LinkedIn as well, I posted it on LinkedIn. So please follow us on LinkedIn. Give Me a Break on LinkedIn, because we need about 38 more followers to hit 150, so we can also start doing the Caring Live show on LinkedIn. So help us, follow us on LinkedIn, but also the information's always there. So I know you guys that are working all the time, go and check it out, because I do keep information and keep you up to date on what's going on that LinkedIn page. So Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, it's there. We're all there. But yeah, and also you can even go to Melinda's page, Melinda's website, which is melindachinencoaching.com. And it's right on the screen. You can see it. So you can get information as well there. But gosh, you guys don't miss these workshops. I mean, what a kind heart to do 3 sessions. It's 6 hours of her time, folks. And you all know what time is and how expensive time is, and time is money, but time is heart and love to Melinda. So thank you for that. Really looking forward to it.
Me too. Thank you so much. I'm really excited as well.
And you know what? If you guys don't do it, hey, snooze, you lose. I get Melinda all to myself then. It'll be a one-on-one session for me. I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But I would love to see you all there. And I would love to just really be able to do this all on Zoom. And you know, you guys, if you have questions, you know how to contact me. Just send me a message, or send me a messenger on Facebook, or God, most of you know me, call me. I'll get you the link, and get on there. Get on tonight at 5:00. That's the real big one.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so appreciative to have you come on, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do so. And I am truly honored to have met you. And I know that we're going to do a lot of great things together.
I agree. I know. I felt like I met like a piece of my soul when I met you. So.
Kindred spirits, man. We're all going to connect up. We're kindred caregiving spirits.
We are
all going to connect up, and we're all going to get each other going and survive caregiving and bring that joy back. And we're going to touch the world.
Love that.
So thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and energy. Again, you guys, it's Melinda Chinen, and you can get more information about her by going to melindachinencoaching.com. And thank you again. Have a great day. Don't forget, you guys, tonight at 5.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Melinda. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Wow. Totally amazing. I am beyond excited for tonight. So don't forget, it's the first in a series of 3. So, okay, so you missed tonight. That's okay, but don't miss the next one. Plan for it. That's going to be on the 19th. And then the next one is on the 2nd of November. So there's plenty of time in between to schedule yourself. Put it in your phone, get it in your calendar. Do not miss it. You don't get these kind of things. They don't come up for free, especially now. It seems like everyone's out there trying to get their buck back, right? Their pandemic buck back is what I call it. Everybody didn't get paid for 3 years, and now everyone's out there trying to get paid. And you know what? There's a different way to get paid. And sometimes that's just in heart. And so Melinda's doing this out of her heart. You guys, appreciate the gift when it's given to you. Okay. Don't forget tonight, 5:00. And you can go to her website, or you can just go to our Facebook page and sign up. All right. Or just get the link. You got to sign up to get the link. So sign up, get the link. But if you're late, you want it last minute, God, just call me. Okay. Thank you so much again. And so today we will audaciously or fearlessly embrace our authentic self for just this moment and learn how to do it even better. Okay, coming up this Friday is the return of Strolling with Savvy. I know it's been a long time. I think it's been like a year since we did Strolling with Savvy. So it's coming back, except now we're Strolling with Savvy in person. Because in that year, what I've come to realize is now that the pandemic's not here, you need to give yourself a break. You need to gift yourself an hour away from caregiving. Do it any way you can. Have someone come in there and watch your caree. Bring your caree along in a wheelchair if you have to. Call your family and tell them they must sit with them. And take this hour for you. It's just an hour. And you can come strolling. We're going to stroll at the Windward Mall, and you meet at Give Me a Break. Meet out in front of Give Me a Break at 9:00 in the morning on Fridays, every Friday. And we're just going to stroll. We're not taking it. It's not a crazy hard walk, or, we're not going to huff and puff. We're going to stroll, and we're going to talk, and we're going to share. And we may even do a couple of primal yells. It'll be fun. So don't miss it. Every Friday from now on, kicking it off this Friday at 9 a.m. at right in front of Give Me a Break in the Windward Mall. So come on down, spread the word, let everybody know. Then this Saturday, Oh, so much going on, is the kickoff of our Tell Your Story workshop series. If you have not, and we have a lot of people registered. Thank you for all of those who pre-registered, so I know how many people are coming. But we have room. We'll make room. Get registered for the Tell Your Story workshop series, 3-part series coming up starting this Saturday. And that's the kickoff. I believe it's at 10 o'clock Saturday, 10 or 11 this coming Saturday. So don't want to miss that at our Give Me a Break safe space at the Windward Mall. Just go on to gab808.org to register now. Do that today. Okay. And all this is on our calendar in the Giver's Guides magazine. If you didn't have a subscription, if you have your subscription, go open it up and look at the digital online magazine, because the calendar shows all of these things coming up. Yeah, I know. Shameless plug for the subscription again. But they are our sponsors. So a lot of things coming up. And also don't forget our pumpkin patch party is coming up. You guys, it's time to party again. I am so excited about this. We used to have, virtual happy hours during the pandemic, but now we can have a party. And so we're having our pumpkin patch party. It's on the 15th. That's in a couple of Saturdays out at the Waimanalo Country Farms. That's where the sunflowers are, but they also have pumpkins, and we're going to be in the pumpkin patch. We've got live music, some fun activities and games, and just a good time. Costumes are optional. Bring the family. It's going to be fun. So go on our website, gab808.org, again, to check that out. Lots going on, and really excited about our pumpkin patch party. It's going to be just too fun. I mean, party in the pumpkin patch. Come on. We're still waiting to confirm that we're going to have hay rides, but even if we don't, hey, we'll just run around in the pumpkins. It'll be fun. Really looking forward to it. A lot of excitement. Okay. So again, that's gab808.org. Check all those activities out. And I want to also, again, that's our show today, of course, but I want to thank Melinda for coming on and her kind heart for caregivers. But I also want to put a big shout out and thanks to everyone who helped us this whole past year. Those who put their ads in and help support Giver's Guides, and those who put their articles in and their heart into the magazine. Really just so excited to have our 1-year anniversary. I remember standing at Ohana Holly Marketplace at our space when we launched Giver's Guides, and I was super excited then to see that it would help so many caregivers, and it has done that, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback about it, and I know that a lot of you have come to depend on it as your resource guide, so thank you. And we look forward to another year and many, many, many more years to come, so thank you, all of you who put your heart and kindness into it. Next week, one of our caregivers who writes an article, Danette Pernod, with Wellness Spoiled, Oiled, is going to be our guest next week, and she's going to help us gain great benefit from essential oil. So don't miss it. She's a wonderful, love her recipes, right? Really excited about that, and excited about her article that she has in our current issue as well, that talks about cold, heat, and light therapies. Really interesting. So don't miss it. Remember, folks, breathe, take a breath, and now rub your hands together and hug yourself. Take a breath. Give yourself time in that moment. Okay, here's hoping that you find more joy in caregiving each week. And we'll be here every week for you on the Caring Caregiver Show, every Wednesday live at noon on Facebook, on Instagram, not yet on Instagram, we're working on that, on YouTube and all of our Facebook pages, and with your help, hopefully soon on LinkedIn. So just tune in. We're sharing is caring, because it's who we are, what we do, and how we live. And remember, you can always check us out on podcasts later on Spotify, Apple, or any platform you use. Just go to the Caring Caregiver Show website as well. That's caringcaregivershow.com. So mahalo for caring, and mahalo for being a caregiver, and for all that you do. And thank you to everyone for supporting our community of caregivers. See you all next week. Aloha, everyone. Bye.